56, it's this one here, and she says that this is the Federal Accounting Standards Advisory Board Statement 56. That's FASB 56, okay? What is important, it authorizes secret books on a permanent basis. And with secret books, I don't mean novels. These are secret accounting books, okay? What this means is that the US Treasury can be milked for endless amounts of money into perpetuity henceforth, okay? It means that FASB 56 says that you can take as much money without having to give any accounts what the hell about it, what you're doing with the money, how much you have taken, and so on, okay? And she says keeping secret books is rendering public financial reports meaningless, okay? Now, please look up this thing here. If you're in America, or if you're affected by America, which is us all, look up this thing, the Federal Accounting Standards Advisory Board, Statement 56, okay? And please, please, please listen to the interviews by Catherine Austin Fitz, the author. I've heard very good interviews about FASB 56 on Greg Hunter's USA Watchdog. You absolutely have to get your head around this. Now, the importance of all this with relation to targeting is that FASB 56 will allow mercenary armies and the gang-stalking death squads to take as much money out of the US Treasury as they need to kill you all. That's what it's about, okay? And the way it's done, it's through these secret books and through not having to give any account about what the money is being used for. So this does away with the whole, what's it called, vouchers, gift vouchers, with which some of the lower ranking members of the gang-stalking community are being paid. And as soon as FASB 56 was adopted, as in, signed into law, Blackwater, the mercenary, band of serial killing psychopaths, put out an advert saying Blackwater's coming. Okay? So you can bet that Blackwater will also run the directed energy weapons and be involved in the American genocide. Why would they not be? They are the most trained killers, out there. And because they're killers and they're earning money with killing, well, once the troops are back from Iraq, what the hell should Blackwater do? They're not going to take up knitting. So, wonder where the next kill is going to come from for them. It turns out it will be US and Europe. So if your neighbors start dying, think Blackwater's coming, okay? If you're wondering who the hell pays for these serial killing Nazis, it's you, through your taxpayer money, and it's also through the debt taken on by your government every year, okay? Because maybe you're aware by now that not a single penny of your tax dollars is actually going toward. You're aware by now that not a single penny of your tax dollars is actually going towards paying for schools and hospitals. Oh, no. All your actual wealth generated, the money from that goes to the Vatican via the City of London. So it goes to the IRS, to the City of London, which is an extraterritorial tax haven owned by the Vatican, and goes to the Vatican Bank. Okay? That's how it is. Then who is paying for schools and services and hospitals? Well, your government takes on a new loan every single year. Okay, a new loan, that's what's country debt, and then all of those services are paid out of that. That's how it works. Now, when you have FASB 56, what it means is that the money held in the Treasury, which is this new loan from the Vatican crime cartel, can be diverted, to any of the projects they please, without any of the Americans ever hearing about it. In other words, there is then the public government with its supposedly public accounts, and there's a dark economy that doesn't have to give account of what it does to anybody ever. And the enabling mechanisms are the Patriot Act, and this is what ties in with the Oklahoma City bombing and the false flag of 9/11, right, that Artane was writing about, and so much more, right? So the false flags lead to the legislation that will then enable all this. And then in the financial realm, the equivalent of the Patriot Act is Fasb 56, and it's now in place. Okay, so get ready for the genocide. Okay, if you don't like the genocide, there's work to be done, guys, right? There's work to be done. And as this gentleman who said it's all a psyop said, if you believe that by just liking a video or by just sending a tweet, the job will be done, you're badly mistaken. Okay, so the only thing that actually gets stuff done is physical things changing in the physical world. Now, the first step to getting physical, okay, is to move your backside into the courtroom as a court observer, because your entire being and body mass and your glare at the judge tends to keep these judges honest. That's what I saw in Switzerland when I attended the court hearing of Andres Taug. I was amazed how the Swiss judiciary put on such a dog and pony show. It was amazing. They had a very young judge, I think younger than me, no history, nothing we could tap, right, who still had a soul, was super friendly, took great care to even translate Latin terms into not just Switzerland or Swiss German, but High German, that even the German press could hear it, and even I could understand it. And he was super polite. It was amazing. But you can be sure that had there not been 20 court observers in the room, the story would have been entirely different, right? They would have rolled out the old Masons who have a face that, needs a license to kill in itself. And, this person would have been just mauled. Now, the person I can see being set up to be mauled is Professor James Fetzer. So in other words, when he, right now at this court hearing on the 17th of June, I think he was alone, right? There were a couple of supporters, but by far not enough. Next time he goes into court, for the appeal, I need a band of very angry Americans who know all about the Oklahoma City bombing, who know all about 9/11, who know about false flags, who have seen the 4 interviews with Professor Fetzer, all to do with the murder of JFK, Sandy Hook, and all the other false flags. You need to know this off by heart to understand why Professor Fetzer is important and why his court case is important and why extremely valuable people like him, you must not allow them to be harmed by the global crime cartel. Okay? For the crime cartel, it's essentially dominance display. It's not just about silencing these people, it's about publicly demonstrating the power to crush people, okay? To silence all the others who would be the next Professor Fetzer about to blow the whistle or about to come forward, okay? So it's a psychological war as well. If you want to fight that psychological war, you make sure that while the judge is feeling the pressure and the heat from the mafia, the judge also has a baying crowd outside, right? That will remind him every second of the hearing that, oh, no, the mafia might be one thing, but there are more Americans here surrounding you and your career and your home, And I'm not saying that any of these judges should be attacked, but they do need a pressure to match the pressure from the global crime cartel. Every judge will just find, even the honest ones, will find themselves being threatened by the mafia. So the Americans have to put in a higher threat, so a better bid, if you like, right? And only then can a judge decide in favor of these people. Only then can a judge be just. And the positive reverse, which is slightly less threatening, vocabulary, is that only when the American people back a judge and will stand by the judge when he makes hard, honest decisions in favor of the victims, only then are judges safe from this global crime cartel. Okay? So when you turn up in the back of the room and there's a queue outside and there's an overflow room and there's an overflow of people wanting to see this court case on the steps of the court, watching it during the hearing on their mobile phones as it's being live streamed, right? But being there to be ready to interview the people when they come out, only then, and really only then, can most judges even have a chance of deciding an honest way? This is the minimum requirement. So my, job now is to organize 500 angry Americans, angry but well-behaved and highly informed Americans, to go to his next court hearing. Okay, so work to be done, guys. You need to do your homework. The last court hearing was in Dane County in Wisconsin. Okay, so you guys have to be on the ready. You have to start educating the people of Wisconsin who could go. Okay, and we need bums on seats. For every court case, we need bums on seats, first and foremost. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say today. Do your homework, read up about the false flags, understand the Patriot Act, understand that it was Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden who introduced the Patriot Act. So if you're being fucked by gangstalkers, it was Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden. Never forget that, right? Never forget that. Do your research, educate yourself, and find the criminals. Thank you very much for